Well, good morning everyone. If you're wondering where we are, I bet a lot of you recognise the backdrop to this place. We're on the actual lake is Swan at Bluebell, the Bluebell complex, the place where I've fished for many years. Probably been fishing here since, I don't know, the early 90s, on and off. I tend to have them periods where you come down, a couple of years and have a do and then have a bit off. This is the first time I've been down here for 3 years now, and it was good to see Tony, the owner, Tony Bridgefoot, a real good mate of mine, and my mate Gaz, Dennis. We've just got here and he's just had a 27.4 mirror, fantastic. So looks like we've got the right location and all to play for. So we'll be doing a lot of these things with Prologic and myself. And this is just the start of the adventures that we're going to be doing. So we'll make a nice change to actually show what we're doing on the bank rather than just talking about it in the studio or something, So look forward to that. And let's see how it all pans out, see what happens. Got down, there's not a cloud in the sky. What we are is mid-March, so we're into spring, and we've got a classic early spring, beautiful day. Cold at night, freezing cold. There was a frost when I set off this morning, massive frost. I set off at 3 o'clock actually, which was a bit of a laugh. 2 3/4 hour journey down. Anyway, as I was doing it, I thought it's going to be zigs when we get there. And sure enough, that's what's been doing bites. And classic early spring zig weather. So there's very little point in fishing on the bottom sometimes. Certainly when you turn up to a busy water and there's been a lot of people putting tons of bait out. At least with the zigs, you're fishing for pressured fish that want to be in the upper layers. So you might as well start off by seeing if you can pick a few of those off. Because I don't think the metabolism's still up where they want to eat a lot of food at the moment. I mean, there's exceptions to that on hungry waters or places where you've got a few fish that have been fed all through the winter that'll just start picking up now. But these waters are quite deep, they're generally slow to start fishing, and then the zigs always, every year you can set your clock by it, zigs are doing it first, and then gradually fish will start coming on the bottom, usually more towards April, where bites are coming on the bottom. So, as I say, it's a little bit boring zig fishing in a way. You feel like you're not giving them much out of it, and it's a little bit mundane. But sometimes it's either that or blank. So we'll see how that goes anyhow. I always choose a kettle that's got an open top on it for this one reason, for shrinking rigs down. I don't like putting them in front of steam coming out of the spout, because you probably know that steam's superheated and it's far hotter than boiling water. And if you put nylon in front of steam to steam your shrink tube down, you're down to instantly about half your breaking strain. If you do bench tests, you'll see it's a nightmare. Literally, it's like that. Done. So, it's just a small detail, but if I'm going to be leaving them out all night and everything, I want them right. Just a quick point is, even with pieces of foam, generally they're not as bad, but if you're using boilies, just double check that they're buoyant enough in the edge before you go putting them out on a zig. I know it sounds like stating the obvious, but it's sometimes easy to get baits that have been soaked in things like goo and some of the glugs that people do. And some of the glugs are quite heavy, especially the ones with glycerine in. So your nicely buoyant baits might be a wafter or a slow sinker. And you sat there with them splendidly on an 8 or 9 foot zig hook length, sat on the bottom. Which ironically I have done, I've made that mistake and I've caught fish on found out later that it was a sinker and it still worked, and which was pretty interesting, but you really don't want that if you can help it. So always check before you put it in. And yeah, so that's perfect. Right guys, it's been quite an uneventful day, but we've found out from Gaz Dennis next door, the guy who fishes it regular, that in the night and early morning is best, which isn't surprising at this time of the year. A lot of you might not know that zigs are super effective in the dark as well, but a lot of fly hatches happen in the hours of darkness, so that is a interesting sort of case that a lot of the time the hatches are happening to avoid predators, so the carp know that and they're feeding in the middle layers and upper layers in the middle of the night, so don't be worried about using zigs in darkness. Anyway, we're getting ready for the evening. I've been speaking to a new mate of mine that I've met today, Rick, who does the product development from Prologic that you probably know about, and we're going to be working together, which is great, and he's been going through all the stuff that he does with the products, and it's been fascinating insight into actually the design, and I mean, he does everything. He's a man of many talents actually. I was yeah, very impressed. So look out for that, and then we'll keep you posted with short clips of how the session's progressing, and hopefully we'll have something to show you in the morning, caught in the night, or up to about 10 o'clock seems pretty good. So let's see how we go. See you later. Right, good morning guys. We're about, I think it's about 10 o'clock now, and unfortunately nothing's happened, which isn't too disappointing. It's the first time I've been over here for about 3 years, I would guess. I've had a count up and I think there's 18 or 19 fellas on the lake, and no one else has caught anything either, apart from Gary's fish, which he caught just as we got here yesterday, Gary Dennis. So we've got fish rolling and fizzing and venting themselves as they're coming up and showing themselves. A lot of them aren't really coming straight out of the water, but I think we're still doing the right thing, and we're still within that bite time, so we'll just have to wait and see. But it's early days, we're 24 hours in, and there's guys actually doing a lot of spomming and sending radio control boats out with loads of bait, and they ain't doing anything either. So there's nothing to go off apart from the fact that the few fish that have come out have probably fell to zigs, so it's worth persevering with that for the moment, so we'll see how it goes. Okay guys, just an update. It's about 4 o'clock in the evening or afternoon. Even though it looks like it's getting dark, we've had torrential rain for hours, and it's proper heavy rain this. It's been relentless, no break in it, just what you don't need, but the joys of carp fishing. Yesterday not a cloud in the sky, today torrential, tomorrow blue skies again. So we've got a hell of a mix. Anyway, just an update. Nothing's happened. I had a bit of a some occurrence earlier on one of them, but that's the only thing that's occurred. Maybe it was an aborted take, maybe it was just a line, I'm not sure. And anyway, it's all about choices at this time of the year. Any carp fishing's about choices. And I'm going to be honest with you, even after I've been doing this all these years, I still have mind games. It never stops that. You know, you think with the more experience, you know every kind of choice to make for every situation. No, you don't. It's still that element of the unknown, because everywhere is different in every scenario. I mean, you can go off basic rules of thumb that you've come across in the past and past experiences, but it's never quite the same. You can only have an educated guess. Anyway, as I said yesterday, all the fish that have come so far off this lake have come on zigs, and you know, it's not the greatest thing to do. It's a little bit boring and one-dimensional zig fishing. You know, you don't feel like you're giving the fish much change in return for what you're getting back, especially if you're not putting slop in or something and you're just using 3 pieces of foam, or in my case I'm using trimmed down boilies. Anyway, I've changed the colours and that's all I could do. I started off with just plain yellows and every rod at varying depths from 6 feet to 8 feet. And I'm speaking to Gaz Dennis, and he's a lovely bloke. He fishes here a lot. He's been here for 22 years as his main sort of venue that he fishes, and he knows the score. And he was fishing a certain sort of way and depth and all that, and seeing him land the fish, and you might as well just cut to the chase and not mess around and go in with something if you see it working, especially if it's a reoccurring theme. And I've not heard of anyone catching on the bottom, so you'd be a little bit stupid to just ignore that and going on fishing on all rods on the bottom. Maybe, you know, try something different on each rod, but I didn't. I just thought, no, I'm going to go in with the zigs. It's working. That's the way to do it. So and then I've got 3 rods to vary the depths with, because if I'd have just put 1 rod on a zig, 2 rods on the bottom, I wouldn't have been able to mess with the depths. And you know, it can all change in a second. You could do that, and when it works, you think, yeah, made the right choice. It's a fine dividing line between success and failure. So, you know, that was my reasoning for doing that anyhow. So, you know, I don't suppose it'll be that helpful to hear that, but at least you know how I approach things. Anyway, I'll keep you posted later on, and we'll see if this weather drops in the morning, and we might get a chance then, because the feeding time is first light definitely to about 10ish from what we found. So we've got another window of opportunity in the morning, so we'll see what happens after that. So keep you updated later. See you for now. Well, good morning. We've just gone almost past bite time. It's about 10:30 in the morning, and unfortunately it's not occurred. And even with the best will in the world, you know, it's a fine dividing line between success and failure at this time of the year. And despite having the zigs in the correct area, we've had fish crashing on us since before first light this morning. It got light about 5:15. At 5:30, around that time, and I was up since 4 o'clock, and they were right on us, me and Ben and the chap next door, and it just hasn't happened. And what we've gathered, we've got hordes of year-old roach, the last year's successful spawnings. There's thousands of them, and I'm fairly sure there's carp hoarding them up into the margins. There's grebes and predators. I've seen perch and pike but I'm absolutely certain that there's carp amongst them. I've seen some huge boils, only in about 3-4 feet of water, and all the fry are leaping out, and I think the fish are preoccupied on small roach. In fact, we've come to the same conclusion, me and the guys, that's what's happening. So no one on the lake's caught anything, as far as we know, since Gary Dennis's fish when we first arrived. So we're not alone. I think there's 20 odd blokes that have not had any success. So we've still got a few hours left, so you never know, but it's fading now. It's getting less and less likely. But if we do catch anything towards the end, I'll keep you posted, and just have to put it down to experience. So it's only the second blank I've had this year so far, so I've not done too bad. And as I say, I haven't blanked yet because the session's not finished, so we'll have a look and see how it goes. Right, that's it then, guys. We've gone down at the wheel, so to speak. It's not happened, and unfortunately, not for want of trying, but perhaps we got the tactics wrong, but I don't think so, because the other fish, as I say, came out on zigs, so before we got here, the few that did come out, so yeah, scratching our heads a bit with this one. But we're going to do a bit of a campaign on this place, because really decided it's worthwhile, and love it here anyhow, even though it's busy. You've just got to be in it to win it, so it's got some cracking fishing, so we're going to be coming again, doing another visit or two in the near future, and then just see where it goes all the way through the season. And we'll be going to other waters as well, so we're mixing it up a bit, but I think we're going to do a little bit of a campaign on here, so you can follow it as we go and see what works and what doesn't work, and how we tackle it. So yeah, keep you posted. So until next time, see you soon.